Is a pre-tribulation rapture biblical? No, it's not. Mm-mm. So we are going to go through the rest of Matthew 24. Matthew 24 is Jesus talking to the disciples because they asked him, when will the signs of the end of the world be? Right? As we can see in verse 3, it says, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? So you can see in verse 3, the disciples asked about the end of the world. So we're starting at verse 15 about the abomination of desolation, right? It says, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoke of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. So this abomination of desolation is connected with Daniel 12:11, where the daily sacrifice was taken away from the Jewish people because they were sacrificing in the temple. And this figure, stood an image of himself, or, he stood in the temple. So verse 16, then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight not be in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. For then there shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Right? So this great tribulation is nothing like the world has ever seen before and will never see. Right? So this is pretty bad. And he's telling you not to return home, is to run. So verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Right? So it's so bad that everybody is going to die, if the Lord hadn't shortened the days. Right? 23. Then if any man shall say unto you, lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Right? So you're going to have Christians hiding, right? He told us to run. You're going to have Christians hiding out somewhere. And you're going to have these false Christs that are going to try to trick them into coming out. And, the Lord is telling us, believe them not, right? Because he comes in the clouds. He doesn't come in the desert, right? So let's keep reading. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in the heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So as you can see, in verse 29, it says, immediately after the tribulation of those days. That's when Jesus comes, after the tribulation. He does not come before the tribulation. Matthew 24 clearly says, it says immediately after the tribulation of those days. Right? So this pre-tribulation rapture, right, before the tribulation, is not biblical. Like, look at 29. It says it. clear as day, immediately after the tribulation. So you thinking that we're not going to go through the tribulation is a lie. It's not true, and it's not biblical.